Hey everybody, Nick here, and today I got a review for you of this big guy. This is the EagTac SX25L3. Catchy name, I know. First off, I do want to thank my buddy Jim for sending this guy along. This is a light that is big and ridiculous, and I never would have picked up for myself, but I'm really glad I got a chance to play with one. We'll go there in a second here. So thanks, Jim, for sending this guy along. Do a quick size comparison here. This is a Spyderco Delica. This is a standard CR123 battery. You can see here it is very small relative to this big old flashlight. This is your EagTac D25A. This is your EagTac GX25A3, another spectacularly named light, using AA batteries here. This guy is the RRT01 from JetBeam, which is a great light. This is a standard 18650 battery, a standard US penny, and yeah, this is a beast. I mean, seriously, this is huge. It's very, very hard for me to explain just how huge this light is, but it's up there. It's got the large hugitude going on. So let's go ahead and jump into the good, the bad, and the ugly of this particular flashlight. Okay, so there's a lot of good here. First off, this is using a fairly standard battery size. This uses three 18650 size batteries. And I mean standard by standard in the flashlight world. You will never see one of these outside of flashlights or the little vape things, but you know, in the flashlight world, 18650s are pretty standard. The other thing is you can use CR123 batteries, not the rechargeable ones, but you just drop 6 of them in there instead. I do want to point out the battery holder here is actually quite good. You can see here that everything is kind of, well, it's in this little, there's a term for that, Triskelion, something like that. Either way, it's in this little arrangement of 3, and you just drop the batteries in individually. You don't have any kind of a plastic cage. You don't have anything like that. It just falls on in place, and then this little bit here spins around, so you just pop it in so that the pins align, and next thing you know, you're all set. And once you've got the batteries in there, there's not a whole lot of shaking, there's not rattling, there's not rolling. It's just in there. And so that's a beautiful thing. And for those of you who are curious, when you use this light, the batteries drain about evenly. You would expect that, but it is kind of a nice thing because it means that you're not going to ruin one battery or something like that. So I like that a lot. Very, very nice there. And the fact that it's using batteries that you might already have if you're a flashlight nerd, I know I've got a stash of these guys around, is kind of a nice thing. This light is actually surprisingly good in the hand, even though it is huge. And I'll get to the huge later on, but it sits nicely. You've got nice grip on it because of these various cutouts and surfaces like that. Your thumb naturally wants the rest here, which is a beautiful thing, and, you know, it's nice. That's a good thing. There's also this little flat area here that highlights where the switch is. So if you grab this guy in the dark, as long as you find that flat area, you know where the switch is on the head of the light. It's a weird little thing, but it's a nice thing, especially given that there's no glow-in-the-dark or anything about this guy. It has 4 levels, and they are selected by rotating the head of this guy, like on the smaller model here. So when you rotate, it goes from the lowest setting, which I call low, to medium, then high, and then all the way up to ludicrous. And that's not the official name, but it seems fitting to me. And it's got those 4 levels, and they're all pretty good. I'll talk about that in a bit here. It also has an instant turbo mode, so even if you're on the lowest setting, if you hold the button down, it suddenly goes into ludicrous speed, and then it goes back when you let go. So that's nice if you're in an area where you mostly need a little bit of illumination at your feet, but then you hear something or something like that, and suddenly you want to fire off the big beam. So that's good. And it also does have an instant disco mode. If you're in low and then you double press, it goes into disco mode immediately. And so I guess that's nice. I don't know why you didn't need an instant disco, but it is something to keep in mind. It tail stands very nicely, which is good. This is a great power outage light. We recently had a spate of power outages, and this is a great light because if you just tail stand it and put it on medium, it lights up the room. I'm sorry, put it on high. Well, on medium too. It really does light up the room. It's a good lantern, and I was very, very grateful to have this guy on low during my last 7-hour power outage. Thank you very much, the energy. Moving along, though. It is IPX8 waterproof, which means you can toss it in the water and pull it back out, and you're gonna be just fine, no problem. And then, finally, the disco modes on this guy are hidden. That means, you know, on some lights, they have all the flash and strobe and SOS modes right in the middle of things. So, you know, you turn it, and then it goes into high, medium, low, disco, disco, disco for 7 times. On this guy, in order to turn those guys on, what you do is you, like, put it all the way unscrewed, and then all the way screwed, all the way unscrewed, and there's some pattern to it. I haven't bothered to learn it yet because I'm not a real, you know, popping and locking sort of guy. But nonetheless, it's a beautiful thing. So that's the good about this light. It's using 18650s or CR123s if you need to. It drains them evenly. The slotting for the battery's good. It's still pretty carryable in the hand, and it's easy enough to find the button with this flat part here. It's got the 4 levels that are controlled just by the twisting, which is kind of a nice thing. It tail stands beautifully, making it a great room lighting sort of thing, or even a tent lighting sort of thing. It's vaguely waterproof, and the disco modes are not all up in your face and causing you troubles. Let's talk about what's great about this particular flashlight. So on the great side, this light is incredibly powerful for an incredibly long time. It boggles the mind. So on your lowest setting, you get 35 lumens. This is bright enough to navigate a dark room any day of the week. It's a great little setting. I'm happy to use it that way. The runtime on that is, you know, generally with a flashlight, you talk somewhere along the lines of, oh, you might get 20 hours on the low setting, something like that on the pocket flashlights. This guy has 350 hours of runtime on low. That's 14 days. Holy crap. That's an inconceivable runtime. I am blown away by that. But okay. 35 is great for navigating a dark room or just using it as a flashlight in general. But if you go up to the medium, you're at 205 lumens, which is more than enough for most uses. That'll light a room very comfortably, no problem. Very happy to use it on medium. There, you get 21 hours. Then if you turn it up to high, you're at 1220 lumens, which is more than enough to light the entire living room. You know, during a power outage, like I said, you tail stand this guy, turn it on high, and it's like the room's, all the lights are on in the room. Absolutely amazing. I even use this guy as fill light if I'm filming something or taking a picture or something like that. Just bounce it off the ceiling and suddenly the room is lit up. It's a beautiful thing. And at that, you get 3.5 hours, basically, which is a lot of runtime at that kind of high power. But then if you twist it the rest of the way, you find yourself on ludicrous speed or turbo mode or whatever the heck they want to call it. And holy crap! You go up to 2,750 lumens. 2,750 lumens. I cannot express to you how bright this is. If you are in turbo mode in a room that is not the size of an aircraft hangar, you're actually going to be in visual pain. It is that bright. It is a searchlight. This is the most powerful flashlight I have handled. It is more powerful than my car's headlights by far. It is more powerful than any flashlight. I have never experienced brightness along the lines of this turbo mode. You know, as a kid of the 90s, growing up with really crappy flashlights, this is like magic. I have the power of the sun in my hands. And so even at 2,750 lumens, which is enough to light the forest, is like you've parked 10 cars with headlights, you end up getting an hour and a half of runtime. And then if you need more than that, you just throw 3 more of these in and you got another hour and a half. That is astounding. I am blown away by that. And so this is a great searchlight. And it's a great power outage. It's just a great light. You are basically, when you are carrying this flashlight, Ra, Egyptian god of the sun. You can summon the sun from a place of darkness at any moment. And that is incredible. I feel like a wizard when I am carrying this light. And that's really, really cool. So that's the great. You get these incredible durations on the low modes, 14 days, and you get this incredible power on the high modes. Which I wish I could express that to you or show you. But it's astounding. You have to see it to believe it. So there you go. There's your great. Let's talk about the bad, because there's still some bad here. Okay, first off, on the bad side, it is a black flashlight. And I got a beef with that. You got to find it in the dark while you're making it black. Second, if you set this down on a slanted surface, this thing starts rolling faster than a hippie at Burning Man. It's really out of control. This rolls like crazy, and that's not a great thing. If you have a lanyard on it through the loop here, that'll cut that down a little bit, but I do wish that they'd done just a little tiny bit of something to make this stop rolling. It would have been a nice little thing. Third issue, there's not a moonlight mode. The lowest mode is the low mode, and the low mode is fine, but it's also bright enough that you can navigate a dark room. It's pretty reasonably bright, so if you're wanting to use something up close, yeah, that's not a stellar thing. I mean, the lowest setting is 35 lumens, as opposed to like 1 lumen on some of your other low-end, well, high-end, low output sorts of lights. I get it, you got a big emitter, it's going to be hard to make that not bright, but still, I wish they'd tried. Next issue is that if you're running this guy on high or on turbo, it gets very hot. And I'm not just talking about, oh wow, that's a little hot. I'm talking, ow, sort of hot. I set this guy up and I ran it for like 20 minutes pointing at the ceiling in the high mode as I was filming something, and then I grabbed the light by this top part and I pulled my hand away. It was so damn hot. It gets really hot. That's a beautiful thing if you're in Siberia and needing a winter flashlight, because you got a hand warmer and a flashlight. Win-win. But in the summer in humid Michigan, not such a beautiful thing. And then finally, on the bad side, this is an expensive light. You're looking at someplace between $110 and $140, depending where you buy it, for the light alone. And batteries are not included. And that's pretty bad, because this is using kind of a weird battery. If you're not a flashlight guy, you might not already have 18650 batteries in your house, and it needs protected 18650 batteries. And so for high-end batteries that have good capacity and aren't going to explode, you're looking at maybe $45 more to buy the batteries. So, grand total, you're looking at maybe $170 for the light, and then that's assuming that you've already got a charger that can charge 18650s. That may be $20 more. So if you don't have batteries and you don't have a charger, this isn't a $114 light. This is like a $200 light. But the thing is, $200, it's a lot of money. But you do become Tonatiuh, the Aztec sun god. You can harness the power of the sun, and that's pretty damn cool. So that's your bad. It's black, it rolls like crazy, there's no moonlight on it, it gets really hot, and if you don't have batteries and a charger, this is a pretty expensive light. Let's go into the ugly. There are two ugly things here. First off, this is a huge light, absolutely gigantic. I can't express to you just how large this light is in practice. The comparison with an actual, like a drink can, is not completely out of line. It's a little bit thinner, but the weight is about the same. This is a huge, I mean, seriously, the weight on this guy, you're looking at like 15.6 ounces. That's absolutely absurd in terms of weight. This is not something you just throw in your pocket. And frankly, this is something that you probably, it's a little weird to even throw it in your backpack. You can do it 100%, but this is a lot of weight to be carrying around if you're not planning to be out searching, if you don't need the huge amount of brightness, or you don't need the huge amount of runtime. This is not something you would EDC. It's absolutely overkill for EDC. It's still a really great light. So that's the first bad, that it's just huge. Second issue is that I'm a little bit concerned that if you carry this light and use it on turbo mode, you may be struck down by Helios, the Greek god of the sun, for pretending to the throne. It's not 100% sure, but, every time I see the golden chariot, I just kind of have to stash it behind my back and hope he doesn't go crazy on it. So yeah, that's your ugly. It's absolutely huge, and Helios or Apollo, I don't know if the Romans or the Greeks were right, but either way, probably isn't going to look too kindly on you stealing his power. Let's go to the conclusion. Conclusion, this is an absolute solid gem. It has insane power, it has insane runtimes, and the design on it's great. The interface is just fine, and this is just, it's a great flashlight in a lot of ways. I mean, it's great for showing off on ludicrous mode, it's great for being outdoors on high mode, it's great for home use on medium or low, and it's really great for power outages on that low mode, because you're not ever going to run out of power on that. Even if you're out for 14 days, you've still got a light. That's impressive, and that's kind of a beautiful thing. That said, even though this is a solid gem, it is also absolutely absurd. I did not think I had any need for this light, and practically speaking, do I have a need? No. But then I had one for a little while, and then I thought to myself, oh God, I like this. I felt so hard for this light. It's funny. I took it out of the package. Literally, when Jim sent it to me, I take it out of the package and I just started laughing like, what the heck am I gonna need this for? And then it happened. Then the power outages happened. Then just using it around the house. This is the greatest light ever, by the way, for charging the loom on your watch. It will burn like the power of the sun when you charge it off of this guy. This is just a great light. And so as I was sitting here thinking about this review and thinking about packing it up and sending it back, I realized I would miss the heck out of it. And so I ended up ordering one for myself, because this is just such a damn good light. Mine will arrive next week sometime. And at that point, Dashbog, the Slavic god of the sun, and I are probably going to have some drinks together to celebrate our common power. So anyways, it's 100% a gem, but it's also completely insane. If you need an insane flashlight, you should buy this light. Totally, 100%. And if you don't need an insane flashlight, well, honestly, consider buying one anyways. If you got the cash, why not? This is a lot of fun, and it's a great thing just to have around the house, because you might realize that you actually do kind of need an insane flashlight in your life. So thank you very much to my buddy Jim for sending this along and making me buy yet more equipment, you jerk. And everybody else, I hope you enjoyed this, that this lit up your life, that Apollo leaves you alone, and that you have yourselves an absolutely wonderful rest of your day.